Welcome to another episode of Books in the World, a production of the Cape Cod Writers Center. Books in the World has been producing literary interviews for over 42 years and has enjoyed the longest running cable production television show of its kind in America. Today, I am Kathy Aspden. Today, I'm very happy to be able to present Jule Selbo. Jule is a master writer in film, television, live production, and literature. Her screenwriting credits span over 2 decades, with a list of collaborations that includes some of the best and sound like a who's who for Hollywood. George Lucas, Aaron Spelling, George Romero, Sam Raimi, and Rob Tappert, to say a few, creating productions for studios such as Fox, HBO, Disney, Paramount Pictures, and so many more. Here's just a sampling of her projects: HBO's Women Behind Bars, Tales from the Dark Side, Monsters, Disney's Hunchback of Notre Dame Part 2, Cinderella 2, Hard Promises, television series Melrose Place, Hercules, Young Indiana Jones Chronicle. She's more decorated than a 5-star general. As a writing professor at California State University, Jule has penned an impressive list of academic books and articles and has taught and lectured around the world, including, I might add, for Cape Cod Writers' annual conference in the summer, which we've been very thrilled to have. She's written 2 award-winning historical novels, a well-received romance novel, and has now turned her attention to writing the D. Rommel mystery series about a young female detective working in Portland, Maine. The first of the series, 10 Days, was a 2021 Silver Falcon Award winner. The second is titled 9 Days and was released last month by Pandamoon Publishing to impressive reviews. I'll quote 2 reviews. Book 2 of Jule Selbo's D. Rommel mystery series reads well as a standalone novel. Fast-paced with a fantastic, strong-willed, likable main character, a really well-written storyline. Now I'm looking forward to reading the first book in the series, as well as any future books. That was Christy Elizabeth's San Francisco Book Review. And from William Bernhardt,
Yeah.
I wanted to give him another name, author of The Last Chance Lawyer, a likable sleuth, a perplexing puzzle, and a narrative strewn with eccentric characters and plot twists you won't see coming. A delightful read. Jule Selbo is terrifically talented, and I think so too. Welcome, Jule. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, the D. Rommel series,
Yes.
which is why we're here today. A female police officer injured in the line of duty in Portland, Maine,
Right.
who then decides to not go back to the police force and become a detective with her uncle. Wait, hold on. Gordy.
Gordy.
Godfather
Godfather Gordy.
Godfather
Yeah.
Gordy, with his detective agency. In the first book, you set the table beautifully. A lot of backstory in there, very nicely, with a beautiful mystery. This second book is more of a feast.
Oh.
Rich characters, a buffet of eccentric people, and a really nice storyline that also includes things that you want to read about if you're not reading about a mystery. I was very enchanted with your astrology aspect. Can you tell me a little bit about, you talk about the story, what it actually entails, and why astrology ended up factoring in on it?
Well, in 10 days, like you said, we are introduced to Dee, and we find out about her injury and her rehab and having to get herself together emotionally and psychologically, and having to make a decision to go back to the police force or to help her godfather, the private investigator. And he's a little bit older. He's always there for her. She wants to be there for him.
He's a bit of a curmudgeon.
He's a curmudgeon and kind of a surrogate father.
Yes.
So there's a lot of pull. And she also doesn't know what's in store for her if she goes back to the police force, because now she lost the bottom of her left leg.
Right.
And so she's dealing with that and all the psychological and physical things that come with it. And so in 10 days, I really wanted to set Portland, the people, and set up all the things that are going to play into her making her decision. At the end of 10 days, we don't know what she's going to decide, but in 9 days it becomes evident that she's decided she wants to be with Gordy, because we don't know if it's because he needs her, because he's kind of not physically well, and or if it's an emotional need for him, or it's because she feels freer. She kind of feels freer as a private investigator, not having to follow all the rules and play everything by the book.
Right.
She loves justice. She loved being a police officer. I think down the road in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're going to see her decide for sure which side she's going to be on. But
well, clearly now she doesn't have to get a court order to investigate an old trailer.
Yes. Yes.
She simply, there's a little renegade aspect of her.
Yeah, she is, I think for her, she was an athlete. She was always independent.
Yes.
Her backstory with her family made her even more so. And so, she likes to go headlong into things.
And a loyal friend. I mean, that actually also shows through that she loves her friends beyond measure.
Yes.
And they tolerate her because she's opinionated.
She's very opinionated.
Yes.
She will say exactly what she thinks.
Yes.
And the astrology thing that you asked about is so funny. I'll tell you, maybe we'll get to that.
Oh, no, definitely. But I'm a lover of astrology. I believe there's a rhyme and reason to the stars.
But during the pandemic, it was always something that I thought, well, I don't know that much about it. And I have a friend who's an amazing tarot card reader, and she got more involved in it. And so I just started reading more about it during the pandemic. And it's such an interesting thing that way back in time, it was considered one of the highest sciences.
Right.
And if you were in the King's Court, you had to be an astronomer, an astrologist, a physician, all those things. And then, somewhere in there, the church came in and said, no, this astrology thing, it's messing with everyone's got free will, and people can do bad things, and if they do bad things, then they're going to get punished. But if people believe that the stars actually had a pattern, had led us to a certain place, that
justified the things that you were choosing to do in its own way.
And justified. And I don't know if I go that far with it, but I do love the idea that when you're born, the sky is in a certain place.
Right.
The stars, the planets, the moon, the sun, and we somehow get stamped. And we're affected. We're affected by when we were born, because it made sense to me. I come from a big family, and there's 5 of us, and we're all so absolutely different. So I got interested in nature versus nurture. I'm making it sound like that's what 9 days is about.
No, but it's a thread. It's a thread throughout the entire book. And just as a little backstory, the person who's trying to be saved in this book, the person who has gone to prison for murder, she hasn't had a trial yet or whatever, is an astrologist.
Yeah,
and
she's one of the most famous astrologists.
Right, well-renowned, and her youngest son is who hires Gordy's detective office to kind of prove that his mother is innocent. And the son, although he's 11, is well-versed in astrology and has the information to back up what it is he'd like to have happen. An extremely intelligent, quirky child, one of 3 sons. So, and then because there is a time frame, a time limit on solving this mystery, as it was in 10 days.
Yeah.
And now we've got 9 days to solve this particular mystery. And this mystery is find the other killer or find out that she is the killer. Those are our options. And Gordy's reluctant to take the case. Dee is not.
Well, she does feel some kind of connection with Czar.
Czar is the 11-and-a-half-year-old.
Yeah, and he comes from a wealthy family, west end of Portland, Maine. It's an old Maine family, very connected. His mom was an astrologer to the first ladies and those kind of things. But there's something about how he's a lonely kid, and he's got a single mom. The dad is a little bit missing and not engaged, and he doesn't fit in at school because he is so bright and so unique. And she remembers herself being a latchkey kid after school, and she sees this in him, and she also just enjoys the fact that he is interested in everything, and she's so curious
herself. He challenges
herself.
her too.
Yeah.
He challenges her. He doesn't tell her anything straight out. It's always with a hint or a little code or something that activates her desire to get to the bottom of it. And I think she feels he knows more than he's telling, but getting it out of him, getting anything out of anybody is difficult. And I find that this particular series, which I love, is loaded with stubbornness. So Dee is stubborn about how she chooses to live her life. Even her friend is stubborn about the wrong choice in men. And Gordy is stubborn about, I don't need help. And so you get to see people at their finest, and you also get to see them at their most human in this, I feel. That's part of why I love this series, you know.
Yeah, I love the relationship between Dee and Gordy, because he calls her on everything that
he doesn't let her get away with anything.
Yeah, all the blocks that she puts in her way, and she does the same thing for him.
Right.
And
he keeps signing her up for counseling sessions based on the fact that she will never go to a group meeting about people that have had injuries and amputations. And yes.
And she will give him grief because his girlfriend, who wants, for Gordy to share his life, and not just tell her, you can come into my life, so Dee's got to call him on that too.
Yeah, one of the funniest things about it is, I'm always interested in whether a writer has decided to do authentic places. Like, are you going to put the backdrop of the actual names of the restaurants or the bars and all the places in Portland? Or is it going to be a name that we're going to recognize the type of place, but it's going to actually be a fictional development? And I notice that you have gone in that route of making up your own names but yet we recognize them. We recognize a Starbucks. We recognize a neighborhood bar. But one of the funniest things when I read, and I wish I could think of what it was, what you had referred to it, but eBay. What did you call eBay in it? And I was like, oh my gosh, she did something for eBay.
Yeah, well, what did I call it?
What did you call it? I wish I had written it down, but it was called something like You Buy, or something like that.
Facebook is Friendline.
Friendline is
and
Facebook.
Twitter is Flickr.
Right.
And it was like the things that I have an opinion about one way or another, but I don't want to actually
put it out there.
Yeah. I don't want to say something bad about.
Right.
And and then I do talk about real restaurants, real places in Portland. But if something bad is going to happen
it's always in a fictional.
Usually I put a fictional name on it.
Yeah, and your characters range the gamut from sophisticated criminal to buffoon. I mean, really and truly. And so that was kind of fun to try to figure out how they were factoring in, because, I mean, there's intentional car accidents that you kind of think are an accident, and then of course, so there's a lot of different types of crime that factor into this book where at the end of it, and I don't want to say everything is tied up pretty, because there were enough loose ends that I can picture Dee Rommel 8 days.
Yes.
Whether those loose ends are emotional loose ends, because there's also a love story going on. A love story, I mean, I don't want to say triangle, but it's purely a triangle. I always think of triangle as 3 equal parts, but I don't think that there's 3 equal parts on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I really don't. Well, of course, I'm rooting for who I'm rooting for. There's nothing I can do about that.
You can tell me later.
I will tell you later, although I don't want it to factor in, surprise me.
But yes, it's Dee has a 10-book arc because I'm going to go down to one day. And so I'm carefully planning that arc, and I want people to feel like, oh, she's changed enough that she can go on after one day to her next big chapter.
Yes.
And but I want to make sure that because it's kind of turning out that it happens every 6 months. A book, it takes me a bit longer to write them, but I'm going for like summer and winter.
Well, I
summer,
loved the impending
winter.
Thanksgiving in this one.
Yes.
Yeah, I really liked that because you could kind of see that cast of characters like coming full full to that moment.
Yeah, so Dee has a big arc, and then each crime plot is going to have a standalone thing. But there's been people already in the 2 books. They want to see Billy Payer back from 10 Days. They want to know what happened to Carla. I
want to know what happened to Carla from 10 Days.
Read 8 Days.
Really? Oh, all right. Okay, good. So when we talk about plotting out this book, timelines, graphs, what do? Do you write like all over your walls? I mean, how do you keep a series with so many bits and pieces that seem seamless? Like, it doesn't feel to me like bits and pieces. It doesn't seem like a lot. It seems like a seamless series, but yet I know what goes into it.
Yeah.
So how do you keep it all straight for yourself as you're?
Well, I do make lists for myself. Every once in a while I go, okay, I just need a big calendar on my bulletin board, and then I never fill it in, and I fill it in and then I cross things out. So basically, like every couple of weeks, I'll just make myself a new list just to remind myself.
Just to kind of keep a track of where you are with everything.
I really like lists.
Yeah.
And then it's that times where you're taking a walk, or you just kind of like lay on the couch and kind of go, okay, now what? Let me get my head straight.
Yes.
And things start kind of falling into place, which are those beautiful moments, as as a writer, where you kind of go, okay, it is going to work, because sometimes you write yourself in a hole almost on purpose.
Right.
Because
it forces you to come up with the next, and it's not going to be an easy fix, and it actually ends up to be a beautiful fix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
We talked about the couch in the office, that kind of thing where you can, I know your writing schedule, your schedule in general is really rigorous. I wanted to nap when we were talking about it the other day, but the idea that you actually will take some time now in between writing stints to actually let something ruminate, that it has to ruminate, as opposed to pushing yourself forward. Yeah.
Because that never works. Somehow your brain needs that room. And especially if you go out for a walk, all of a sudden you go, well, why didn't I see that before?
Right.
Because you're pushing, and you're worrying about a word, or you're worrying about a sentence, whereas basically you can see the bigger picture.
Yes, exactly. Are you still writing anything for theater at this point?
No, I'm going to be doing some projects for Acorn Productions in the spring. But because I've dedicated myself to finishing this,
that's a lot.
I just decided that I needed to focus.
And you can't have too much space between books. Is it going to be one a year? Do you feel like that's, or do you feel like it's more than that?
I want to do one every 9 months.
Yes.
And if I can push myself to do that, because I still really, I'm very attached to having it. I just want it to be good. I want it to be a good read, and I want people to love the characters, but there's something that, and I find it in the books as I'm writing each one, finally it kind of goes, oh, this is what this book is about.
Yes.
And so it kind of helps me build Dee's arc.
Well, I like the fullness of this book. I like the little tiny, not innuendos, but the tiny pieces that created the humanity of each character. Things that were little insights that, it could be a sentence, but it gives you one more piece of who they are as a puzzle. I like the fact that Dee Rommel doesn't get every hint. Seriously, she misses a lot of hints, like things are right in front of her, and then she's having an aha moment later. Oh yeah, that's what happened. So you as a writer, you're not making this easy for her.
Right.
It's not as though you're saying, let me make her the smartest tool in the shed. She's smart, really smart, but she also is you know, she's humanly flawed, which is just so lovable in a character, you know.
And Czar sends her down these paths.
He does, and
he
they all
talks-
make sense when you think about it. He was the smartest person in this book.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, when he says the dumb waiter.
Yes.
And she's like, what?
Yeah.
And she finds out that the house, his old
Father's-
family house,
yes.
has a dumb waiter, and she can't get it open.
Right.
It's stuck, and she's going up and down from floor to floor to floor.
Oh, even the part where the cat attacks her. When the cat attacks her, I literally am like, because I had a nephew that got cat scratch fever. I am literally like, she better be okay. She better be okay. Like, it was like my thing. And then, you know, and anytime anyone asked her what was wrong with her, she said, oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. You know, I got a cat scratch, you know.
It's a serious
It's
thing.
a serious thing. Exactly, exactly. And then we're learning more and more about what it's like to be an amputee. You know, that especially when you are an amputee who is going to chase down a criminal in a dark alley
And no,
without even giving any thought to the fact that you have, you know, a disability that's going to factor in.
well, the thing is I think that it is always in her mind, and so she has to set up situations where she doesn't have to chase.
Right.
But you know,
But it happens.
In this book, she gets in a situation where she has to get, you know, from the top of the hotel.
Right.
Downstairs, and she can't carry anyone, and she can
Right.
going downstairs. I have a friend in Portland who is who lost a leg to cancer, and I'm talking to him all the time, and he goes, he said, going up, you kind of feel safer because if you fall, you're going to be able to catch yourself. He says it's going down that's really
It's
a
a free fall
problem,
after that.
and so and you don't race usually down if
Right.
you have that disability. And so it's just an interesting thing. And then I set up in 9 days, I don't know if you caught it, but that the blade has been given
I'm
to
excited
her.
about the blade.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the blade because, yay, it's what she lived for, was
Yeah.
running. Like, that was what equalized her. That's
Yeah.
what turned her into a normal person during the day, is that she ran in the morning.
Yeah.
And getting that, the blade, if you can
The C
explain what
blade.
a blade is. Yeah.
Yeah, the C blade, there's two, there's a jogging blade and a long distance blade that people with below the knee amputee can use. And because of what happened in 10 days, this guy designed one for her that's amazing. And it's just, you know, it's got the right bounce, it's got the right tension, it's got all the great things, all the layers in the perfect place. And so it scares her to think, oh my God, now I have to actually accept that I need this in order to do something that I used to love, but am I going to let it keep me away? So it's just another decision that she has to deal with. And then in 8 days, she finally gets to use it.
Well, the funny thing is you can tell how well you created her character by how attached I was to the concept that I was thrilled to see that C blade come into the picture. Like, that I actually was happy for her as if she was somebody I knew. Yay, she's going to get her running back, you know. So, you know, well done on that aspect too. The realness, and you can take some pretty quirky people and make them real for us, because some of those people were pretty quirky.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, why can't I remember his name?
Chucky?
Oh, Chucky. I mean, he's a pirate-ish guy, a pirate criminal.
Yeah.
And yet, yeah, you painted it, and, you know, I mean, I want to hate the people she hates, and I want to love the people she loves.
But, you know, there are those people that they take on a persona because it makes them feel special, and they'll go for it.
Exactly.
And so
when they take their horrible tragedy and they make it like a badge of honor.
Right.
Yes. Oh, actually, you know what? Come to think of it, Dee does that a little too. Boom, insight.
Okay, good. Yeah,
Oh
so
my
I'm working on 8 days, and it's so fascinating to me because the response to Czar in 9 days has been, people are like going, but he can't now not be in it. And I go, no, well, Czar's story is done for right now.
Right.
And so it's creating those characters that I'm hoping that
Yeah.
people will care about as
Well,
much.
I mean, visually, it's such an easy thing to see it as a television series. I mean, you know, from my lips to God's ears, but a television series, because those characters could drop in and out, you know,
Yeah.
definitely more easy if we were watching them every, you know.
Every hour.
Every
Every
hour.
week, yes.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. I know that you're getting ready to travel again. Do you have, I know that you write all over the place. Like you write in your office, you write in a coffee shop. Do you get as much done when you're traveling for an event? I know you're speaking at a...
Yeah, I'm going to go to Stockholm in a month to speak at a conference there on film, not on novel writing. But yeah, because it's you know, it sounds kind of weird, but I remember reading that Nureyev, the dancer,
Yes.
if he wrote it, said in an interview, you know, if I don't dance every day, I can't walk.
Right.
And I just, in a way, it's like if I don't have my first 3 hours of the day,
Right.
Working mostly on the creative stuff. Every once in a while I have to get pulled back to do some other kind of writing work, but I'm just kind of grouchy.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
And so my husband has been very good about just like, you know, no one talks to Jule before 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And, so they just, and my daughter's been great about that too. So it's just and another astrology, but it's not really astrology, but they say that the moment that you were born
Yes.
is the time of day that you're the most creative.
Oh,
And
so
I was born at 5 a.m. in the morning.
Oh, yeah. So I was born at 9:06. I'm surprised we're up at this point. 9:06 p.m.
Oh,
Jule,
right.
this has been so much fun. Thank you
Yeah,
you
this was
so
fun.
much
Thank
for coming
you.
on.
Thanks
Books
for
in the
having
World
me again. Yes.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to 8 days, a D. Rommel mystery, and in the meantime, we can all enjoy 9 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.